Okay, I'm making this video for one of my subs. He's very close to getting his racer flying, the UAVfutures build flying, so he wanted to know what settings I had in beta flight to get his flying like it should. He has the exact same setup as I do, so I'm going to go through each one of my screens in beta flight, and you can follow along and go step by step with what I have. And I'm going to show this slowly while my race is hooked up now. So here we go. So connected in beta flight, and as you can see, I have my quad connected, and you can see here everything looks fine. You can see telemetry from it, which is great. Now in this first section here, I'll let you see what I have, and this is where you can reset the accelerometer, reset all the settings, or back them up or restore. I hadn't done any of those, so other than I did reset the accelerometer once when I first got it. So just remember to do that. On ports, this is what I have. To connect my Tyrannus, and I went through each setting already, but on UART1, I turn it on, and this is the selection I have here, and the rest of it is the same, so you can see that. UART3, I have it as serial RX, so you can see that also. So those are the two settings there on that screen. Okay, on configuration, you can see I have it on one shot, 125 ESC motor protocol, and I do have disarm regardless of motor value here. That's very important actually. And I have it set as quad X frame, of course. And moving down, the system configuration, you'll see it's got the accelerometer here on. I have it. Now this right here, you may be a little different on it depending on how it's flying, so just take this one with a grain of salt, but it does work as this, okay? I had to turn my yaw 360 because my board is in sideways, so remember that. You may not have to change this at all, okay, if your board is in straight on. And by the board I mean by your flight controller. The rest of it, you can see I have it on S-Bus for the receiver. That's what you need for your Tyrannus. And you can follow along with that. The rest of it's kind of default. Doesn't really matter on the black box to me, or the telemetry output. You can turn that on or off, but that is up to you. And the race transponder, you can turn it on or off. It doesn't really matter. Now, battery, this right here, I had to set myself with a VBAT. This is like if you want to do that. If you don't, that's fine too. And the sensor, okay. So this is the entire configuration. I'm going to the next one for PID tuning. Now, under PID tuning, I took the defaults. There's nothing under PID tuning that I did other than just take the defaults. You'll have to accept it one time and that's it. And you'll see where your PIDs are on. Okay? This is under your receiver. Now for your receiver, you see I have my throttle set, and the channel map is the AETR. You'll have that on the Tyrannus also. And if you look at some of my other videos, you'll see how to set that on your Tyrannus. but you have a selection. Just make sure it's 1, 2, 3, 4 AETR. And I'll turn my Tyrannus on for a minute to let you see that's how it's working in here.
Welcome to OpenTX.
I don't have a battery in right now, but I think it'll show how the switches are working. And I think I need a battery in it. I'm sorry, I sure do. But you get the logistics of how to set that up in the on the receiver. Just make sure that these values are all the same. I just took the defaults on this, but you have to make sure the AETR is set. Now, under here, this is where I set up an arm range. So my first switch on the Tyrannus will arm and disarm from this right here. Let's see if I can get that to show.
Welcome to OpenTX.
Yeah, I don't have a battery in right now, which I don't want to put a battery in because I don't have one charged just yet. But this is how I set it. This is the range. And angle mode and horizon mode are all on aux3. So I can switch between angle and horizon between those two, which I usually fly in horizon mode. Angle mode I cannot fly in that well yet, but I'm working on it. And this is a set of beeper on this other aux2. Now the board that we have, if you got the same exact one, it doesn't have a beeper set up. So on the board, but you can buy one and add to it. It's relatively simple, but I'm not going to do that since I have the battery tester that's I'm flying with. Okay, and the rest of it I just left as is. Okay, I didn't set a fail safe yet, but I don't fly out of range anyway, so it doesn't really matter. All right, motors. Now, this was kind of important here for the motors. Not sure if you can see all that, but this is how you'll test the motors. If you want, hide my toolbar, I think. I might have to edit this out. Hide my toolbar so you can see. So you can see the values on here. But anyway, I have them all set at 1,000. Motor 1, 2, 3, and 4, all set at 1,000. And before they always tell you to remove the props while you're doing this because it will gear up. So it's very, very good practice to never ever have your props on while you're in the beta flight. So just remember that. So all of them are geared to 1,000, and that's where they'll idle at. Whenever you arm it, it'll idle before you give it any power. Okay. Transponder. I did nothing there because there's nothing to configure there. Okay, here is black box. I just took the default settings, nothing, because I'm not doing any black boxing. Nothing there. And this is just for the terminal, so you can see values being added or not added to the quad. So back up here, there we go. We're that's pretty much so how I have mine configured. So I hope this helps you, and if you have any other questions or anything to be set up, I can walk you through how to set up your Tyrannus, and that will be another video if you want me to do it. But This is just for one of my subs, and I like doing videos, so there you go. This is Mayday.